In this video, I'm going to cover the Phillips curve. This curve shows the trade-off between inflation and unemployment. What happens to inflation and unemployment when aggregate demand goes up? There's an inverse relationship between unemployment and inflation. So the short-run Phillips curve shows the curve as downward sloping. When the economy is overheating, there's low unemployment, but high inflation. When there's a recession, unemployment is high, but inflation is low. Aggregate demand and aggregate supply along with the Phillips curve. So here are the aggregate supply and demand graph on the left and the Phillips curve graph on the right. What happens on both graphs if aggregate demand increases? If aggregate demand goes up, then we have an inflationary gap in the economy here. So unemployment would fall here as shown on the Phillips curve graph, and inflation would go up. What happens when there's a recessionary gap? So in a recessionary gap here, unemployment would increase. So that's shown by this green point here. And if aggregate demand falls further, so we're already here at a recessionary gap and AD is actually fallen further, on here that's shown as this white point where unemployment has actually increased from this green point to the white one. What happens to the Phillips curve when aggregate supply goes up? When aggregate supply shifts to the right, the Phillips curve would shift back to the normal rate of employment. Here's a practice question, and the answer would be B. Here's another one, and the answer would be A. And here's another one, and the answer would be A.